I just can't get away from a good time.
It sets up deep in the pocket. Goes down the field for Smith. Oh, he got it!
This ball is drilled to center field. Pilar at the wall. Gets there and hangs on.
Top shelf where mama hides the cookies.
This infield is a great wall of China. Nothing's getting past us. Good D behind you, Bry. Good D all around.
Get the garbage out of here.
He runs to the 50. He runs to the 40. The guy is drunk, but there he goes.
It's not always whether you win or lose. It's whether you're winning or losing.
I guess that's what I'm saying, Brooksy. You get that through your head?
Hello and welcome to this TradeCentre edition of Sports Chatter with Bax and Patter. We're your hosts, Brandon Bax.
And I'm Patrick Reed. It is March 1st, 2017, and you know what that means, Bax?
It's trade deadline time.
Trade deadline for the NHL. We've got a number of things to get into today, so going to start off with the NBA, just go over the trades that happened last week, most notably those for the Raptors. Then we'll get into the business of the NHL that happened today and before on the TradeCentre. Then we'll take a stroll over to spring training and see what the Jays are up to. And finally, we'll go with the NFL, the AFC West wrap-up.
All right, so Sports Chatter is just starting, so stick around.
Don't travel, don't double dribble. I want a good clean game and no back talk.
I figured since I'm going to be like Mike, I might as well dress like Mike, you know.
Lowry, half-court heave, a prayer at the buzzer. Oh!
Hey, stop hogging it, Mike. We're your teammates.
How do you intend to match up to the Squire's strong inside game?
It's a great question. Tomorrow, after the game, Jackie Moon, will wrestle a bear.
The NBA, we'll start off right here. Big moves for the Raptors there.
Yeah, well, the trade deadline came and gone for the NBA this year, and it wasn't really very eventful. But the Raptors, I think, were the big winner of all the teams in the NBA this trade deadline, getting Ibaka and now PJ Tucker for Jared Sullinger and a couple second rounders.
Yeah, not a bad deal at all, I don't think. I mean, we talked a bit about Serge last week, and we're excited to play. And I mean, he did not disappoint when he came back on Friday there, just after the trade deadline. And I mean, he had a few good blocks, a couple threes, and even in the game since, he's looked good. And PJ Tucker did not disappoint either.
PJ Tucker is we're learning a lot more about him as the games go on here. They haven't lost since they've got their new acquisitions on a 4-game winning streak. They're playing Washington in a home-and-home starting tonight and tomorrow, so a really big series for them coming up. But PJ Tucker and Ibaka, they're really showing their defense and showing the fact that the Raptors can now play a lot better team defense with those two on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, the Celtics win was pretty huge, but then you come back and it wasn't a great effort all around against the Knicks there, but I mean, they pulled it out. They came back and got some stops. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. They held them to under 100 points, which is very rare for the Raptors these days.
Yep.
Like you said, PJ Tucker, good hustle. And, I mean, the point guards have really stepped up here.
Yeah, Corey Joseph and DeLon Wright, really. I mean, DeLon Wright has
Van Vliet.
And Van Vliet as well, making a hustle play. But, yeah, I mean, I think it's key that DeLon Wright has gotten healthy at the right time here with Kyle Lowry going down. We'll have more on Lowry in the injury report, just to let you know. So we'll talk a little bit about his injury and his kind of situation with the Raptors right now. Kind of an interesting one, but we'll get into that in a bit. Any other trades we want to kind of mention from the NBA trade deadline? Not a whole lot of serious movement going on. A lot of minor deals.
Well, somebody still wants the services of Roy Hibbert, which is surprising to me.
Very interesting, yeah.
Yeah, he was flipped for Andrew Bogut there, I believe.
Yep.
Nerlens Noel, I thought that was interesting. I know a couple years ago he was the next big thing, but I guess he just hasn't panned out quite as well. Maybe we'll save him for a Heatley report down the road here.
Exactly. I think a couple of the other big names is the Bulls getting rid of Taj Gibson and Doug McDermott to the Thunder, who are trying to load up in the West. They give up Anthony Morrow, one of their starters, I believe, and then a couple other players there. Kind of an interesting move there.
Yeah, another interesting move was the waiving of Deron Williams by the Dallas Mavs, and then he was picked up by the Cavs there.
Yep.
An extra point guard, a playmaker that LeBron wanted.
Yeah, exactly. And our old buddy Lou Williams from Toronto.
Former sixth man of the
year for the Raptors there. He was traded for Corey Brewer and a draft pick to the Rockets. So the Rockets were also kind of trying to load up a bit there. for this playoff drive this year.
It should be an interesting one. The Raptors have to get to that 2nd or 3rd seed.
They really
have
do.
to hover in there. You don't want Cavs coming in the second round.
Yeah, if you finish in 4th, you risk the chance of Cleveland playing Cleveland in the second round. But I think with their additions, minus Kyle Lowry, they should be able to at least pass Washington, and they should get close to Boston.
Yeah, I think they can definitely. I mean, I was surprised Boston didn't do anything. I guess they're standing pat with the kids and seeing what they can kind of pull out here. I mean, they're not in a real hurry. Their guys are still fairly young, and they can kind of develop and kind of mesh together. And who knows? They have those 2 or 3 picks still left from the Nets, which are going to be high draft picks.
And those were the picks that were supposed to be in play for Paul George, who didn't end up moving at all. There was a lot of rumors that Indiana was going to give him up, but they're still sitting solid in the 6th seed.
You see Brooklyn, those picks. I mean, Brooklyn's sitting with 9 wins right now.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be a real high draft pick, and who knows? You just keep adding on to it, and by all accounts, this looks like a pretty good draft this year.
Exactly. And when you're looking at the standings right now, too, with this Toronto and Washington home and home here, they're virtually tied in the standings, the Raptors and the Wizards. So, I mean, this is going to be huge. This is going to be huge for both teams. And
it's going to be a couple good statement games, I think, if the Raps can kind of hold them off, and especially without Kyle Lowry, if they can pull out a couple W's here. Or at least get
realistically,
split, right?
I think it may be a split just because this is 4 games in 5 nights for them, and that is draining, especially even after a long layoff in the All-Star break there. This is going to be really a tough test for them.
Suck it up, Buttercup. You're a pro athlete.
Basically. Anything else in the NBA that we wanted to kind of touch on here?
No,
I know the Cavs they weren't really doing much either at the deadline there.
No, other than picking up Deron Williams. They were fairly quiet, but I mean, what else can you add to that team?
Exactly.
Without taking it away. I mean, they're still waiting on getting Love back there. Yeah. Other than a few other injuries around. Did you see that Golden State game the other night against Denver, where Curry just couldn't hit anything?
Oh yeah, he the night after he scored 53 points, he ended up with the lowest 3-point percentage in was it his history or the NBA history or something? I don't know, it was something ridiculous. Yeah.
I mean, it looked like his dad stepped in his jersey. I think we were talking.
It might have been.
Which, I mean, Don was a decent shooter back in the day, but, I mean, the guy's got to be, pushing 60 now?
Yeah, I know, right? Well, I mean, speaking of Golden State, we'll have a little more on their situation with Kevin Durant, his injury coming up in the injury report as well. So stay tuned for that. I think we've covered most of the big trades there for the NBA trade deadline, but we're going to move on to another trade deadline that was almost just as disappointing as the NBA trade deadline. The NHL trade deadline was today, so we're going to recap some of those trades coming up.
Listen up, we're still in this thing. We just need a quick one. Listen up, Cash! We gotta work harder than them, okay?
What is icing?
Well, icing happen when the puck come down, bang, before the other guys.
Doesn't count unless you go Bardowski.
You gotta go Bardowski, Schmel.
It's knuckle puck time.
Well, yeah, it's NHL trade deadline day. It's come and gone. Ended at 3 o'clock, and of course, trades always trickle in after. Ended up with 18 trades in total. 33 players moved, and 12 draft picks went one way or the other. And I'm pretty sure we were on our phones all day back and forth. Yeah. And after every trade, I mean, you're just coming at me with, just give them the cup. And it changed every time. Give them the cup.
Just give them the
Colorado
cup.
pushes their practice till 3:30. Give them the cup.
Give them the cup. Yep. I mean, this was yet another uneventful TradeCentre. I feel sorry for Duthie and the boys at TSN. The biggest acquisition today has to be probably Jerome McGinley, I guess, going to the Avs, or not to the Avs, to the Kings from the Avs, and that's got to be,
I guess, the biggest name.
The biggest name, maybe, yeah.
I mean, that Shattenkirk to Washington was pretty big.
That was big, but that wasn't around there. Yeah, that wasn't today. That was yesterday.
Whoa,
but I mean, we're talking trades overall. Yes, we'll talk Shattenkirk first. Then he was really kind of speculated to be going somewhere. I mean,
Washington was never really. I never heard Washington get brought up just because they are so. They're already pretty well set. You know, they're already a dominant team. But
I guess people are tweeting right afterwards. It doesn't matter who they add in Washington. They're going to choke. They're going to choke in the playoffs. They always choke. But we'll see. Really, that team does look super solid, and Shattenkirk just adds to that very fantastic blue line.
Yeah, and I mean, and Ovi's not even their lead scorer, which is the most impressive thing of all. I mean, they're rounding out. Barry Trotz has them humming on all cylinders.
Exactly. So we'll see how they do in the playoffs again this year. Maybe not a first or second round exit this year. Maybe they'll make it all the way to the conference finals.
Ooh.
We'll see. We'll talk Toronto Maple Leafs a little bit here because they did pick up a couple guys, Brian Boyle and Eric Fair.
Yeah, huge acquisition. Getting Eric Fair. Look at that. depth centerman again.
I think they were really looking more at getting rid of Corrado than we should first off say that Brian Boyle. What did they get for Brian Boyle? They give up for Brian Boyle again. Byron Freese.
Byron Freese in a second-round pick.
And then for Eric Fair, they gave up Frankie Corrado, and they also got back a prospect and a fourth-rounder.
Oleski.
Yeah, Oleski.
Who's 30-year-old. Kind of journeyman. I think he's been on 6 teams now.
Hasn't really played much.
He's only 6 foot, so he's probably not going to play much.
No.
I think in 73 career games, he's got 20 points. He's a defenseman, but he's only played 73 games, and he's been in the league for 10 years.
I think this trade was more about getting rid of Corrado and maybe getting back that veteran and Fair and the pick.
I think Fair is going to help them. I mean, Ben Smith obviously can't play anymore.
So he's probably going to get waived. Are going to probably.
Yeah. I'm depth centerman, right? I mean, Boyle will be, looks like your fourth-line center. That's Mike Babcock through and through. I mean, 6'6" every shift. Mm-hmm. And he's a hard-nosed grinder. And he's only making $2 million. That surprised me, Brandon.
Yeah.
I think when I was looking at it, because they were talking about, can they re-sign him? Like, that's going to be a bunch of money. I thought he was going to be making $5-6 million.
Well, and this is an assistant captain from Tampa who's been to the Cup Finals last
twice.
2 years, you said?
He's been twice. Once with Tampa and once with New York.
Yeah.
But yeah, a great pickup by them, I think. It adds the depth. I mean, you look at that center ice position. You have that Matthews and Nazem Kadri combo, first line, whoever one you talk about it, whichever one you flip around. Mm-hmm. And then you've got Bozy, a legitimate third-line center, and then Boyle. That just boisters that. And he's a guy that can play up and down your lineup, really.
Yeah.
You throw him on the power play to just sit in front of the net and make trouble for the goalie, that kind of thing. I think it's a really good pickup.
I mean, maybe not for this year, we're really thinking, but I mean, even next year, like when the potential of losing Bozy or Kadri, maybe they weren't really trying to bolster.
I told you, I think
center.
this guy could be slotted in for 4 years at $10 million. I think that's reasonable. I believe he's 32 years old.
Yeah, he's not. He's right mid-age, right around his prime. So.
Well, I mean, coming to the back end, but at $2.5 million, you can't really go wrong for a guy like that. I mean, he can fight. Mm-hmm. You put him on a line with Matt Martin, and they're going to crush the bodies around.
They're going to kill it, especially on that fourth line. So we'll see how that fourth line does down the stretch here as well to see if they can kind of help some of these young guys along and maybe, just maybe, squeak into the playoffs there. A couple other moves we wanted to look at.
You want to head down to the Battle of Ontario and check out Ottawa?
Yeah, we'll take a look at what the Sens did today.
So they got Burroughs the other day. I don't quite understand that.
A lot of Ottawa fans don't understand that.
Who wants
Alex Burroughs? Yep.
Yeah, a finger biter by all accounts.
I don't really know what they were trying to do by getting Alex Burroughs. I know they picked up Stallberg as well from Chicago. They're trying to make a push here for the playoffs, and I know Vancouver, and that's a whole other story. But they're trying to rebuild.
It sounds like they finally come around to understanding that we need to tear it down.
And they found a buyer for Burroughs, and I'm not really sure what the Sens were thinking getting that type of player right now. But,
no, that's. I mean, he's 35 years old. Yeah. They just gave him another 2-year extension for $5 million. Not a whole lot of sense going on. And then, I don't know if you heard the GM come out and he was trying to sell it to everybody. Oh, this was great. This is exactly what we needed to do.
I mean, this team finds a way to win no matter what players are on the ice. They didn't really need a Burroughs, I don't think.
No.
But again, we'll have to see how they do in the playoffs because it looks like Ottawa's going to be in there again. It's very tight, but I mean, this guy might try and push him right into a little further than round 1, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, Victor Stallberg, he doesn't add a whole lot either, really. I mean, some scoring touch, but
maybe
not
a little more playoff experience from Chicago. So
I guess. They also traded away Curtis Lazar, which I thought was curious.
Yeah, the Calgary Flames picked him up, and which is not a bad move for Calgary, I guess.
No, that's a good move on Calgary's part. I think this
not exactly a this year move, but
I think this kid needs a change of scenery. By all accounts, I mean, he came into camp and he had the mono, I believe, so that kind of set him real far back. And I guess he's just never kind of. I mean, guy like that, he's skilled enough that he can't. be playing just 8 minutes a night. The guy needs more time. So hopefully in Calgary with some of the young players there, like Sean Monahan, Johnny Gaudreau, and Bennett, they can kind of slot him in there, and he can grow with them.
And I guess don't look now, but I mean, the Flames have won 5 in a row, and they're 7-2 in their last 10. They are in a playoff spot right now with the first wild card spot. So I mean, maybe Lazar adds that little bit of depth punch scoring wise, and maybe on the third line or something.
It's not going to hurt them. They didn't give up much, really.
Montreal, they made a couple of minor moves today, but
what the hell are they doing?
I'm not even sure what they were doing. They need scoring, and they tried to get tougher today.
Yeah, a lot of sandpaper in that lineup, I guess. They add a veteran who's probably not even going to play, let's be honest, in Steve Ott. He wasn't doing anything on Detroit. I don't think he's going to do a whole lot. He's got 3 goals on the season here. For a team that's struggling to score, I just don't understand.
Do you think Julian and the Canadians maybe have realized, okay, we're not going to get the goals that we need. There's no way for us to get it. Do you think they're just going to rely on Price in the defense and be maybe like just being physical? Maybe trying to win those 1-0, 2-1 games in the playoffs.
But you have to be able to skate to do that.
Yeah.
And
well, they got some guys. I mean, Galchenyuk and them can skate. Some of them can skate. It's just like, I mean, I don't think they can get the scoring they need.
I think you kind of get that from Dwight King. He's a big body. He can move. He showed some scoring promise when he was in LA there. But again, just a big bruiser, and I'm not sure. You get similar play from Jordy Ben on the defense there, which I was really surprised about, that the Stars would be so bold to move their captain, their leaders. Is he captain down there? Yeah, he's captain, isn't he?
I think so.
Jamie Benn?
Yeah. Yep.
Anyways, one of their best players. They moved his brother Jordy Ben to Montreal, which kind of was surprising to me, but I guess you got to do what you got to do. And he had some size to that back end. I'm not sure where they're going to slot him in there. But yeah, just some weird moves.
Really weird moves.
Got Davidson from Edmonton, who's career seems to be a minor league player.
Yeah, not really much.
And they moved out Desharnais and didn't get a whole lot for him, which I mean, I'm not sure if they just got sick of David Desharnais or what.
Yeah, I think the Oilers maybe just wanted him too, or maybe they kind of were interested in him, and that was the Oilers' big move today was David Desharnais. So really, like we're splitting hairs here to try and find some big deals that actually happened today. Some other moves that didn't involve Canadian teams were Johnny Oduya going back to Chicago.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, it was reported that the Leafs might be looking at him as well, but I guess he goes back to Chicago, team he won a cup with, or did he win 2 cups with them?
I think he won 2.
I believe so.
That blue line off and on for years now.
Yeah, exactly. They know what they're getting, and they're happy with that. I mean, Quinner down there, he knows what to do with him. He's probably only going to play, 10 minutes a night?
Yeah, not
if
too
that,
much.
because
but
between Duncan Keith and Seabrook, they play about half the game themselves.
Yeah.
So, but good depth on the blue line. Nice, steady guy back there, and didn't give up a whole lot to get him. So, interesting.
It wouldn't be a trade deadline without Tom Vanek.
It would not be. It would not be trade deadline unless Tom Vanek, one-time great scorer, can never seem to quite get it done with in the playoffs.
Now more of a drifter.
Yeah. So he goes from Detroit to the Panthers. I
guess a depth move for Florida. They're trying to push back into the playoffs. They're finally healthy.
Maybe they're trying to put him with Yager and get a full check line.
Yeah. That was kind of an interesting move. A couple others. Ben Bishop yesterday goes from Tampa Bay to Los Angeles. They kind of have a 2-headed goalie tandem in
I guess
LA
they're
now.
just trying to keep Quick healthy there, not playing too much, kind of rest them up for the playoffs and insurance, right?
Yeah, and basically, I mean, they've played 63 games. They have to play a strong goalie every game the rest of the way, even to get into the playoffs. So there's no games off for these goalies. They're going to have to win almost every night now.
Yeah, they're on the outside looking here. They're about 5 or 6 points out of the wild card spot even.
Yeah.
So they're in tough.
So that's why they kind of went after the goalie. I think that's the only reason I can think, because Quick is healthy now, but he's not going to play every game. So you're going to have to get to the playoffs.
Absolutely.
And the Kings are a team nobody wants to play if they get in the playoffs. So
no, they do need to add scoring though.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they really did.
Not with Jerome Iginla, exactly. I think Iginla is more searching for his last hurrah here in his career, and he did want to get traded, I believe, and the Avs granted him at least a chance at the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, the Kings, if that's the team that's going to take you, at least they're a little bit closer than Colorado.
Yep.
You got more...
Yep, they sure are.
More of a chance there. Iggy was a great player. Fantastic. He's 40 years old now. I don't think he's adding a whole lot to your line. He's probably only going to play 8 minutes a night.
Well, can he play the second power play unit in LA?
I think so. He's still got... I mean, you never lose a shot, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you lose the foot speed, everything like that, but, I mean, he's had a great shot for years, and I think they throw him up there. Look at Vinny Lecavalier a couple years ago. He got brought in, a similar kind of situation, and he did okay. You got to know your role, and I think he does. He knows he's not a top-line a player anymore, and... as long as he can accept that, and I mean, who knows? Maybe they throw him with Jeff Carter on the power play, and he can get some apples for you.
Lights him up.
One veteran who did not get moved, a little bit of Stockholm syndrome, I believe, is Shane Doan.
Yeah, and I guess we can talk about Martin Hanzal really quick as well, because he did get moved. His buddy, a couple of days before the trade deadline. Hanzal, where did he go again?
Minnesota.
Minnesota, yeah. So Minnesota's really gearing up as well.
They're looking good too.
Because they're looking pretty good. But Doan had some harsh words to say about the team trading Martin Hanzal, which is I kind of was confused.
He almost looked like he was ready to cry. To be honest, they played together for a few years now, and I mean,
wouldn't you want your buddy to go and win?
Well, yeah, but
you're not going to do it in Phoenix.
No, you're not going to do it in Phoenix. That's for sure. I don't know what Shane Doan's. I mean, he had opportunity to leave. I guess he just felt sentimental. He
wants to be with one team.
Like he started off in Winnipeg, obviously, and then they moved to Arizona or Phoenix at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something to say about that. But
so does he retire after this year? Is this his last trade deadline to really get moved?
I think so. Yeah. I think so. I mean, I think they have kind of an agreement there in Arizona that he can keep playing as long as he wants. But I think he's only putting in 4 minutes a night, and
not much.
Yeah. Not doing a whole lot on the offensive front. That's a team that should be poised to do more than they're like. I think they're really underachieving. They have a lot of good young players, Max Domi, Anthony Duclair, and you really haven't heard anything from them. Ekman Larson as well.
Yeah, I mean, just the team overall, and they have a great goalie, but they just give up way too many goals.
Do they have a great goalie though?
Well, Mike Smith has been pretty solid for a few years now.
He's okay. He's okay.
He was on Team Canada at one point, a few years back on the Olympics, was he not?
I think maybe.
Yeah, well, he's won a gold with them.
Did he? Well, then there he
the
must
Carey
have
Price
been
year. There were both
2014 then.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
but
I think he was in the running for Vezina that year too.
So, but this basically shows you how uneventful today was. Talking Martin Hanzal and some of these other guys. That was the NHL trade deadline. Nothing too huge going on today. As we recapped, 18 trades overall, 33 players. Like there wasn't really too much going on NHL trade deadline wise. Anything else we wanted to talk about? NHL?
Vegas. They made their final payment today, so they are officially a franchise.
They are for real. I wonder how many moves today were in preparation for the expansion draft for Vegas.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe some of these oddball moves.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Montreal picked up Ott to put them up.
Just have him exposed.
For exposure there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of teams, maybe even the Leafs did that with Fair, or some of these guys too.
Although I believe he's expiring contract.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, no, he's got one more year.
Fair has one more year.
Fair has one more year. Boyle's done, but like I said, I think they re-sign him.
Yeah, I think so.
At least make a push for it.
Yeah. Well, we are going to switch from TradeCentre, and we are going to talk some baseball spring training wise. The Blue Jays are finally underway, and we're going to talk about them and a whole bunch of other MLB news after this.
Hitting is not about muscle. It's simple physics.
Do you drug test the players?
No. On into the windup in his first offering. Just a bit outside.
You stink, Strawberry! We want home run homer! Daryl.
Hey, Yankees! You can take your apology out of your trophy and shove it straight up your ass!
And welcome back. It is Blue Jays baseball talk time, and the Jays finally get going this past weekend in Dunedin, and they've lost a bunch of games. They finally won one yesterday.
I think they're 1-5.
Yeah, I think they lost against
huge offensive
Detroit,
outburst yesterday against the Pirates, 12-0.
Yep.
I believe was the final score. Salty, I think, is looking pretty good.
He's looking
had
really
a couple
good.
jacks.
Yep, and Morales has had a home run as well. I mean, overall, I think you don't take anything from these games, win or lose. But, I mean, the point is, some of the starters, including Stroman, that have pitched in some of these games, Biagini, they've looked great. Some of the bullpen guys have looked great. Bautista's got his timing at the plate. Like, a lot of the hitters are locked in. So this is all we really want to see from these games.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Morales is looking pretty good. Joey Bats had a first home run there the other day. He's looking like he's ready to play. I mean, as long as he can kind of stay healthy and maybe not move around so much in the field, that'd be good.
Yeah. And a lot of these guys, too, Gibbons is trying to get into the lineup. A lot of these guys are going to the World Baseball Classic in a week. So he wants to get these guys their games and their reps out of the way now.
Stroman headed in to pitch for USA.
Exactly. So once
which should be interesting.
So once all these guys are off, you can bring in Tulo. You can bring in some of the other guys that they're resting. Maybe even Donaldson if he's healthy, and they can get them into some games. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean Donaldson took batting practice the other day. Said he felt fine. So. I mean, I still say you rest him.
I think you should rest him further. Yeah, for sure.
Biagini and Latos, they were looking like multi-inning relievers in there, just getting stretched out, which, I mean, that could be a good 1-2 monster. I mean, you don't want to pitch Biagini too much. If Latos can take some of that burden away, that'll be good.
Yeah, I think basically those are starters number 6 and 7 for you right now, especially if Latos continues to impress. So I think they might even both end up in Buffalo. If Biagini does not become a bullpen guy for this team, they could both end up as starters in Buffalo and give you some depth there.
Yeah, it could be interesting. Guerrero, he saw his first action. Didn't look too bad. Didn't look great.
I mean, he's a 19-year-old or 18-year-old.
He's still fairly young, so he's just finding his game. Other than that, not a whole lot to report on the Jays front.
A lot of the young guys are really playing well. I think like the Connor Greens and all them, like they're starting to kind of come into their own. What was it? Rowdy Tellez has been playing fairly well. A lot of these guys we've been talking about here and there that we might see down the road, but also might have a chance to do something in AA or even AAA this year.
Yeah, former Jay, Mark Burley. White Sox are going to retire his number this year. So good for him.
That is really good. I love Burley as a Jay.
Yeah, he ate up his innings, that kind of thing. Not
quick
a
pitcher, games are over in 2 hours.
Well,
when
exactly.
Pitching,
there you go, eh? Well, not so quick picture. I think he hit 85 at the max.
Well, speed-wise, that's for sure.
No,
he was not exactly a fireballer out
there. Intentional walks are to start this week in spring training, so that that'll speed that up a little bit.
Yeah, you just got to signal to the umpire if you want to intentionally walk someone, so it's going to save you a whole 4 seconds of gameplay.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, those 4 seconds.
Those 4 seconds, you're not going to be able to do much with that.
Well, I think the Mets might be able to do something with him. Tim Tebow, who's, if you don't remember, signed a minor league contract with the Mets. He hit 9 home runs in batting practice the other day.
Well, so
he's smoking it.
He's got the build and he's got the power, but is he going to be able to catch up to real live pitching is my thing. I mean, is he really going to be a ball player?
I kind of want to see it.
I want to see it, but I don't think I
don't know. He does have the legs. He's got the speed.
Even if it does happen, he has to go through so many levels of minor league development. The quickest I could see him in a Mets uniform is 2, maybe 3 years.
Yeah, that's true enough.
I mean, they got to go single A, double A. I mean, I don't think he shoots through the whole system quicker than some of these pitchers and catchers and all of them that have been playing baseball all their life.
Yeah, it's a pipe dream, I guess.
Yeah, but I would love to see Tim Tebow as well. Professionally playing something.
Yeah.
I mean, he could go bowling. I'd watch it.
Oh, darts.
Throwing some darts.
Throwing the darts. I think that's all I've got for MLB. You got anything else?
I think we're pretty much caught up to date on the MLB. We'll continue to follow the Jays and any other spring training happenings. We'll keep an eye on some of these position battles that haven't really kind of started up yet. But Smoke Pierce, once Pierce gets healthy, we'll talk about that and any other injuries that pop up. We'll get into them.
We'll roll along to the NFL right after this.
Bobby, water sucks.
It's my team. It's my quarterback.
Whoever said you had to be good to play football?
teach me to football?
I'll teach you anything. Just don't eat me.
It was all that Dan Marino's fault. Everyone knows that.
Come on! Football!
Welcome back to Sports Chatter, and we are going to talk some NFL, and we've been doing some recaps over the last few weeks. This week, we are going to do an AFC West division recap from the 2016-2017 NFL season.
Yeah, but before we get into that, Bax, I just want to bring up a couple notes and news for the NFL. Adrian Peterson has been cut by the Minnesota Vikings. So he's a free agent by all accounts. Could potentially go to somewhere in the AFC West.
Somewhere in the AFC West. Oakland might be a team that could be interested in Adrian Peterson. That's really interesting.
Revis, who we talked about a couple weeks ago, he's done. Cut by the Jets there. Kirk Cousins has got the franchise tag again. I don't understand this from Washington either. Like, put up or shut up. Like, they keep on tagging him and tagging him. Just give him a nice deal. $24 million it's going to cost him. So I guess if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown did sign with the Steelers there. $68 million, 4 years.
And I believe we talked about Brown a bunch of weeks back in the show, and if he was going to re-sign or not. Is this going to influence maybe Big Ben's decision on if he's going to actually retire or not? Yeah, we still haven't heard anything about that, but Brown is a Steeler for the next 4 years.
Okay, we'll roll on to the AFC West here. Kansas looked good. I mean, finally made a decent push into the playoffs.
Yeah, Alex Smith carried them quite a ways, and they did it all without Jamal Charles, who apparently is going to be released by the Kansas City Chiefs. So kind of big news there. But I mean, he's always injured.
Problems. He's 30 years old, which I mean is the kind of decline for running backs there, unfortunately.
Yeah. There is some news that the Eagles might be looking at picking him up. Doug Peterson was, of course, his former offensive coordinator.
I'm sick and tired of your Eagles agenda.
Yeah, so I don't really hope that they do, just because he's a 30-year-old running back, but we'll see. We'll see
they did sign Barry, $78 million, $40 million guaranteed. So
good for him, though. He's had a really tough time, and he's had a cancer scare and all that. Eric Berry has come back and come through all this in Kansas the whole time. They love him in Kansas City, so good for him getting that deal.
Yeah, and they've got Travis Kelce still. I wasn't happy with the end of the season call, the face mask, I believe, or against Pittsburgh there. He was pretty animate about that. I mean, I like the guy. I think he's hilarious.
I think he's pretty good. I think he's one of the best tight ends in the game. So. I mean, is he Gronkowski level? I don't know, but he's up there.
The Kansas also re-signs Canadian Laurent Duvernay-Tardif. He's an offensive guard, $41 million, and Canadian.
Well, he must be a starter then, making $41 million.
Oh yeah. No, he's a solid offensive guard there. I mean, he really kind of takes the pressure off Alex Smith, which is good. Other than that, not a whole lot going on in Kansas. I mean, Andy Reid's still there.
Yeah, and you got to think that they're the front runner in that division again. I mean, there's Oakland as another team.
Don't you hold out my Broncos.
The Broncos. I mean, who knows what the heck they're doing? They need a quarterback. Maybe Tony Romo. I guess we can transition into Denver here by talking possible Tony Romo.
Got the new coach, Vance Joseph. He's an up and comer by all accounts. Going to be quote unquote one of the great coaches. By all of his peers, has been called. So I'll be interested to see what he can kind of bring. He was a defensive coordinator for Miami, I believe, last year. So, I mean, defense is what we're about in Denver here.
It sure is. I mean, that's what held them in a lot of games last year, even though they didn't make the playoffs. But, I mean, that division is getting a lot better right now. I mean, you got Kansas City really well. You got Oakland really. I mean, they're a really good young team now. But Denver, their offense is going to have to step it up, and they're going to need that new quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Romo. They are in the running for him.
Jay Cutler? I know Chicago doesn't want him anymore. Can Cutler go back to Denver? Would he do it?
If Chicago doesn't want you, I don't think anybody
we won't go down that road then.
No, not quite yet.
Yeah.
Trevor Siemian or Paston Lynch, they are developing. Trevor Siemian, he looked pretty decent last year.
Yeah, he was not horrible, but I mean, I think they were really trying to protect Lynch there because I think he is the future quarterback. But I think if they signed a guy like Romo's stopgap, maybe 1 or 2 years to give him some time.
Well, I mean, Jerry Jones said he's going to make it to the Super Bowl, so I mean, if he does it with Denver, he does it with Denver.
Oh God, whatever Jerry Jones says is gold.
So. Oh, absolutely. other than that, they are looking at re-signing DeMarcus Ware's there. But John Elway was not. He says the deal has to make sense on both sides, so I guess they're still in discussions to see what they can kind of come up with there. Yeah, not a whole lot going on these days.
San Diego, who is now no longer San Diego.
It's L.A.
It's LA
now.
It's the LA Chargers.
LA Chargers.
Do we have any news on these LA Chargers? Phillip Rivers, is he still going to be at the helm next year?
As far as I know, as far as I've heard, he should still be there. I know he wasn't happy with the whole moving from San Diego, but
I guess he's a good quarterback. If you're going to move somewhere, he's a good guy to at least plant your team down on the ground, and he's going to get you some wins at least. He's going to throw the ball. So
yeah, he's never really had great weapons around him, but he's always been a solid quarterback.
Yeah.
I had him a few years ago in fantasy, and he picked up quite a few points. Yeah. I mean, he makes his throws and gets his points.
He's really quietly good, I think, and I think
because nobody cares about the Chargers anyway.
Yeah, and now when they go to LA, is there even going to be anybody in the stands watching them?
Well, I mean, with the Rams going up head to head with them, I don't know if there's going to be enough people to go around.
I mean, TV wise, it makes sense. They're going to make their money in LA no matter what. They don't even have to have a single soul in the stadium, but it's just going to be weird. 2 teams in LA already.
Yeah,
football is
well,
back.
They're tying up linebacker Melvin Ingram. They gave him the franchise tag, $15 million. Sounds like they're looking to sign Tomlinson there as well. So that could help stabilize the franchise as well. But Phillip Rivers, he just needs some more receivers.
Yeah,
he needs some help.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them got hurt last year,
he's
too.
a veteran. Yeah. He deserves something. To get done there. And, I mean, like you said, the rest of the division is getting better. Oakland's looking really good.
Yeah, we can get into Oakland next now, too. I mean, they were leading the division for...
No, they were leaving the division to go to Las Vegas, but...
Yeah, that's true. And
they weren't leaving the division, but...
That didn't even happen. Yeah, they were supposed to be going... And I thought Oakland and San Diego, they were going to share a stadium, but that didn't end up happening either.
No, it all fell through. Yeah. One of the casino owners pulled out, it sounds like. That's awkward.
Yeah, it's really awkward. But now Oakland is still stuck in the baseball stadium.
Yeah, and I mean, you heard all the uproar when Oakland said, "Hey, we're leaving." All the fans of Oakland, and you don't want to piss off Raiders fans. They really got after it. So that's going to be an awkward home opener, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Is Adrian Peterson fit here
in Oakland?
Yeah.
I think that he could play in Oakland for sure. They have a great offensive line now. I think that, if his time is kind of worn out in Minnesota, and, I mean, if he could stay healthy for a season.
Yeah. Well, because Murray's a free agent now, so, it is something to look at. He kind of brings that veteran presence to this, like you say, really young team with Derek Carr.
Well, I mean, Derek Carr, and he just coming off this injury. They could have really made a run in the playoffs, especially in the AFC.
Oh, they looked real good.
They could have made a run in the playoffs until he got hurt, and that kind of really took the team down. But
like you said, these guys are looking like the Raiders from the early 2000s.
Yeah, and they'll be back for sure.
If Derek Carr can come back 100% healthy and with no limitations, I think they're definitely going to give a run for the money in the division,
especially to Kansas City and maybe even Denver if Denver jumps back up.
If Denver can get their quarterback situation figured out, they'll definitely.
But if Peterson goes to Oakland, I would say they're the early favorite to win the division, especially if he stays healthy. I think so. Yeah, I would put money down on it early. But I mean, we don't know if he's even going to go there or where Peterson's going to sign. This is all speculation. Yeah. But if he was to go to a place like Oakland, that would make them, I think, a clear number one contender for that division.
Right on. Well, that's the AFC West wrap up there.
Yeah, next week we'll get into the NFC. We're not sure which division we're going to talk about. Maybe the East, maybe with some Eagles and Cowboys talk.
You like that.
Yeah, I would absolutely love that. But that's for next week. We're going to head into another topic now. We're going to get some injury reports going on for you.
Speaking of getting healthy, eh?
Speaking of getting healthy, the injury report is coming up next.
Oh, look at that! Oh my goodness! They just dropped the stretcher. Oh my goodness!
I think I'll live. Yeah.
And again, I have no idea what that is.
That's what you want to know?
Your manager said you were sick.
Yeah, I had a diarrhea.
And welcome back. This is the injury report, the part of the show where we talk about some nagging injuries from around the leagues.
Yes, nagging injuries indeed. Sounds like Kyle Lowry has been suffering with this wrist injury for a while.
Yep. Well, apparently he heard it against Charlotte, but I think this is something that could have happened even before then.
Well, they're saying, actually speculating that it happened even when he was a rookie, when he was with the Rockets. He had wrist surgery in his rookie season, and they think that this kind of is an on and off issue that he's had since then. Loose bodies is what they call it. It sounds like it's little pieces of bone or cartilage that are floating around, and a lot of times they don't do anything. But a similar thing happens to pitchers in the major leagues. They get these they get stuck in the joints and the cartilage, and they're just extremely painful. So he's having surgery today.
Yeah, I believe he had it this morning actually. So hopefully that all went well for him. But like he's supposed to be coming back just before the playoffs start. So hopefully he can get a few games in with Ibaka and Tucker and all the new faces in Raptorland there. But I mean, it's better to clean this up now than to have a repeat of last year where his elbow was being drained after games. He was having a horrible playoffs until they turned it on late there, him and DeRozan. But
yeah, absolutely. I mean, you kind of hope that this injury forces him to rest to a point where he can, because the thing about him is he wears down throughout the season. So maybe this 6 weeks break or so can rejuvenate him for the playoff run and really force these guys, if they can hold on, to really make a run into the playoffs here. I think I texted you as soon as we heard about it, and I said I might win our bet. We've got a bet on that I say the Raps won't make the playoffs. It looks like I'm losing right now. I owe him a game of golf, but you know.
But I mean, like, and if what you were saying is true about him, the lingering injury, maybe even going back to Houston, it doesn't really make my next point kind of valid at all. But I was thinking, like, when you know that you have an injury in a game against Charlotte, the last game before the All-Star break, you shouldn't be going to the All-Star game taking part in a three-point competition where you miss every shot, let alone moving that wrist all those times so quickly, it's not going to help it. And then you're icing it mid-game. And then after the game, you go on another vacation and you have a golf game with your buddies. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you got an injury and you're priming your team for a stretch drive here, it might not have been like just the whole circumstance doesn't sit right with me.
It is a different circumstance, but have you seen Kyle Lowry play?
Well, he plays like a bulldog.
He plays like a bulldog.
Yeah.
So do you think that this guy who plays with a ton of pride is going to sit out an all-star game? Admittedly, high honor for him, something that he's only accomplished just recently.
I think, yeah.
You think he's going to sit that out?
I don't think that he would sit out a game on the playground.
No,
he would never. He would never.
Not.
He would never
No.
sit out a basketball period unless he was forced to. It just sucks that this is what it's come down to. This is what we've signed up for when we have Kyle Lowry. But at the same time, I wish the Raptors were maybe a little more informed, and maybe the medical team. I mean, they're saying that it was just a day-to-day thing, and the next day they're telling us, "My gosh, he's having surgery. He's out 6 weeks."
Well, this is the thing that I was saying with the pitchers. Like some days, those little bone fragments, it's fine. The arm feels fine. And then the next day, the guy can't bend his arm. It's just like a day-to-day thing.
And I think people are really just jumping to the conclusion just because of, with the All-Star game, the three-point, all these things just kind of came together at the same time. Boom, his wrist is hurt.
Yeah, the optics aren't great, but he's Kyle Lowry. He's going to do what he's going to do. We love him for it.
The good thing is that the Raptors point guard situation, everybody else is healthy, and their team is playing well right now, so they can afford to have him off for a few weeks.
Yeah, good thing they didn't trade Corey Joseph like I said they should.
Exactly. Good thing they didn't listen to you there. Another maybe devastating blow.
No, I don't think this
matters
matters at all.
Kevin Durant.
No.
Hurt till the end of the year. He had an
I don't
MRI
even
on
think
his
we
knee
need
today.
to talk about it.
We don't need to talk about Kevin Durant?
Well,
the fourth member of the Big Four?
He doesn't add anything to that team. Like, sure, he adds a little bit of scoring, but he takes away scoring from the other guys. Even when he signed, he's not a difference maker on that team. He's just another guy.
Well, he's just another all-star.
Well, he's just another all-star, but it's not like, this is going to put him over the top.
I definitely see your point because basically you still have three superstars that are going to get you to first place anyways, and he's going to come back healthy for the playoffs.
They have lost 10 games this season.
Oh, they've lost 10 games out of 60.
Yeah. Well, they only lost 9 last year, so obviously they got worse.
Yeah. I think that they're not in it this year for the record of wins. They're more in it for the process of easing yourself into the playoffs, playing right and good at the right time, and then really challenging Cleveland for that title.
Absolutely. But, I mean, it is notable. Kevin Durant out, MRI on his knee, hyperextended it.
And they were really thinking he could have been done for the year. So
yeah.
It was possible anyways.
Yeah.
Any other injuries that we got to take a look at here?
Embiid, he's out for the year with knee problems.
Yep.
So
Philadelphia was right to shut him down, I think, because they're not going anywhere, obviously, this year anyways. No. But, I mean, this is just frustrating that the process continues to get slowed by the same injury year after year.
Yeah, well, I mean, at some point, the guy is what he is, right?
He might end up being another injury-prone big man in the NBA.
Yeah, Joel Okafor.
Joel Okafor, I mean, he just got traded too. Yeah. So I mean, Embiid is supposed to be the guy in Philadelphia now. Like he's the talk of the town, and he's hurt again. So.
Yeah, not getting any dates.
Yep, not getting any dates. NHL injury there, Connor Carrick.
Connor Carrick, he's out upper body day to day. I mean, hey, who knows? Maybe this makes room for Oleski. The newest acquisition from the Maple Leafs to come in.
Yep, some defensive help, and he's played really well this year, Connor Carrick. So
he's been all right.
Yep. Defensively, I mean, like he's still a rookie, but he's chipped in when he's had to. So offensively, anyways, and defensively. So.
Yeah. Canadian Milos Raonic, he's out indefinitely or for a prolonged absence, at least in tennis there. Something to do with his hamstring. He's going over with his trainers and trying to figure out what he can and can't do.
Yeah, he pulled out of a tournament where he was in the final against John Sock, so he gave up the title to John Sock. Then he pulled out of the next following week's tournament as well. So Raonic hurting, but maybe trying to get primed up for some of the bigger tournaments coming up this summer.
Yeah, who knows? Another injury for Milos.
Yeah, another injury for Milos. We'll see how his summer continues here. When we come back, we're going to get into everybody's favorite segment. It's the Heatley Watch, and that's going to be right after this.
Okay, it's time for the easiest part of any coach's job, the cuts.
Danny Heatley, you know, I'm in a slump, you know, I'm an all-star, so.
Who was that?
That's right! Who do you think you are? I am!
You tried your best, and you failed miserably. The lesson is, never try.
Now, who are you again?
Yes, it is everybody's favorite segment, Bax. It is the Heatley Watch. This week, we have our eye on a former Leaf, once traded, or once considered better than Tuukka Rask, one Justin Pogge.
Yeah, Justin Pogge used to be the #1 goaltending prospect in the Leafs organization way back in the early 2000s, I believe. And I mean, he had his moment of fame at the World Juniors. I believe they won gold with Justin Pogge in net was it after Marc-Andre Fleury? Just after Fleury's year.
Yeah.
So Pogge was the next big thing, and they also had Rask in the picture at the same time. And I think Rask also was in the same junior tournament as Pogge there as well. He didn't obviously win, but I mean, they didn't think as much of him as they did Pogge, and they dropped Rask in a trade to Boston for, I don't even know who the heck they got for him.
Jeez.
That's a good question. But they ended, and anyways.
Good research, Bax.
But yeah, anyways, Boston ends up with Rask, and Pogge ends up nowhere with the Leafs.
Yeah, well, and also in that draft, or in that trade, wasn't it that the one where they traded the second overall pick, and it became Tyler Seguin?
Seguin, that was the Seguin trade. Okay, so that's what was also
for Phil.
Yeah, for Phil.
Phil.
Yeah.
Where's Phil now?
Well, he's not with us anymore.
Anyway, Justin Pogge picked 90th overall in the 3rd round. Considered a top prospect. I remember you going on and on about him, Bax. Did not amount to exactly what you thought he was going to be.
Well, yeah.
Ended up floating around to Carolina for a bit. I believe he got traded for Tim Brent, legendary Leaf
from Cambridge, Ontario.
Ontario.
And now where's he now? Where's he now,
he
Patrick?
is in Bratislava, playing for Bratislava in the KHL. He's just 30 years old, so he's got some time left.
So he's still playing.
He's still playing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have thought he would be, kicking it on the golf course.
No, I don't think there's too many golf courses in Russia.
Well, I guess
Bratislava, not. But yeah, Justin Pogge, your Heatley Watch of the Week.
So when we come back, it's the GOAT segment on Sports Chatter.
So what you're saying is, we're at this level, but we got to get to this level.
I told you all that I was the greatest of all time.
A cool dude, a good teammate, good attitude about things, probably get some chicks.
Yes, it is the GOAT segment, the greatest of all time, at least for this week. Bax, who you got this week?
Well, I'm going to go outside the athlete's box this week, and I'm going to go with TSN's biggest acquisitions on trade deadline day. Jay and Dan are coming back to TSN from Fox Sports. Their show has just been canceled for God only knows what reasons. These guys are hilarious.
Lack of support, maybe?
Lack of support, maybe. They just don't
get... they didn't air it in Canada?
They don't get the humor of Jay and Dan in California at all, I guess. And Fox Sports is just...
They're a mess. Even Julie Stewart-Banks, who they brought down there at the same time as Jay and Dan, she's now moved over to ESPN.
Yeah, so it's just... I don't even think they know what the heck they're doing.
Sinking ship.
Yeah, sinking ship for sure. Driving right off the cliff.
They tried to go too big, too hard. They're the Brian Burke 18-wheeler off the cliff.
Yeah, and it's completely off the cliff. But at least it's benefiting us. They're back on TSN.
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
They're taking our jobs.
They're gonna have a podcast, and they're gonna end up in Sports Chatter's spot on your podcast dial there. So, but anyways, they're gonna be back on TSN in the mornings with the girls. In September, I believe. Yeah, this fall. So stay tuned for Jay and Dan coming back on your TVs in Canada.
Yeah. My go to this week is somebody we talked about last week, who was on a really great role at the Scotties, Rachel Holman.
Ooh, golfer. Curler.
Yeah. Third Scotties win, second among active rinks. Got to give credit to her team as well, her rink there. But yeah, 27 years old.
Yeah, and they battled back after
third one already.
Yeah, a couple losses in the tournament. They didn't really.
They lost twice to Manitoba, and then ended up coming back and beating them. And they were even looking shaky there. I believe they won in 11 ends.
Well, that's just a clutch curling performance right there by the Holman.
She made
team.
Some beauty curls there.
Yeah. So that's our GOATs for this week. Be sure to continue to listen to the show. We each have a GOAT each and every week here. So. Yeah, that's the GOAT segment.
Yeah, on to the cleanup?
I think we're about ready to clean the show up.
Clean up on aisle 4.
Clean up on aisle 3.
But we're going to need a cleanup on aisle 3.
Clean up on aisle 3. I got it.
Testosterone spill on aisle 4.
Clean up in all the aisles.
Yes, folks, this is a cleanup, and we will start with something that we talked about last week. CFL, Jim Popp, Mark Trestman, they are confirmed. They are taking over the Argos, which I believe is a fantastic move.
Yep, it's officially announced. They had a press conference just a couple days ago, and the Argos finally have a coach and GM tandem that is worthy of, I think, of the team and of this league. Like Popp and Trestman, they're proven winners in Montreal, and they've really done their thing over the last few years there, not just with Calvillo, but they know how to run a football team. And I think that's what Toronto really needs as an organization.
Absolutely, they need a full overhaul of the whole culture, everything like that. Sounds like Ricky Ray is going to be their starting quarterback. Drew Willie is going to be secondary for when Ricky Ray does eventually get injured. 37 years old. Yep. They gave up a first rounder for Drew Willie, so you got to think they do have high hopes for him.
They're paying him.
Well, they are paying him. But yeah, this organization needs an overhaul, and finally they've got people in place where they can actually start making deals, because free agency has been open and nobody's done anything from the Argos standpoint because they haven't had anybody in charge. Sounds like Trestman and Popp have not ruled out the possibility of trading for the rights to negotiate with your buddy, Johnny Manziel.
Johnny Manziel, yeah. I don't know where he would really play on this team. I guess if they were to pick him up, he could make a run at a starting quarterback job. But
well, you got to think
we'll see.
Ricky Ray has 1, maybe 2 years left in him. Then I think he'll flip over to quarterback coach, just as Anthony Calvillo did. He slot in Drew Willie, maybe him and Manziel kind of duke it out for the starting job there. I think just on a publicity standpoint and getting butts in BMO Field might not be a bad idea. I mean, people go to see the circus all the time, right?
Yep. And Manziel would definitely put those butts in the seats, as you said.
He brings himself a circus.
Yep.
Speaking of butts and seats and BMO Field, TFC starting up this weekend. They've got Real Salt Lake. They're headed down there to Utah. Should be a good game.
Yep. Another season is about to get underway for the soccer team from Toronto. Trying to get back to the championship.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like Giovinco is going anywhere. I guess that China rumor.
Yeah, we didn't really. I mean, I think it was the first week of this show we talked about Giovinco maybe going to China. Like there was rumors, and then nothing ever came about it. He's been gone right through training camp, and same with Michael Bradley and Altidore and all the other big names that we know and love from CFC. They're all coming back.
Yeah, the only other big news in MLS is Wayne Rooney looking at either coming somewhere in North America or possibly China as well. But who knows if he's going to want to uproot his family. I mean, he is getting old.
But it's the thing to do for the soccer players
I guess
now.
So, eh?
They're coming over to MLS for their last 4 or 5 years of their career.
Beckham that started that off, right?
He did, yeah, in LA. And then I think a bunch of the other players started to realize maybe this league is legit. And now with a bunch of expansion teams coming into the MLS this year, this league is growing, and the population and the popularity of the league is definitely growing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of disappointed that TFC is not starting off either in Montreal or Vancouver, get those kind of rivalry things sparked up again.
Well, I think a lot, especially in Montreal, they don't start in playing home games there until April just because of the cold. And I think in Toronto, they don't play a home game for a few weeks still, too, to maybe get a little bit warmer weather here. But
Vancouver,
we'll see.
It's not much different than Seattle, really, or Utah.
That's true. But I think they play indoors in Vancouver at BC Place.
Oh, true enough.
Yeah.
Other than that, GSP, his first fight is scheduled.
This is kind of big news.
Michael
Bisping, yeah. He's going to fight the welterweight champ in his first fight back. This is kind of, I mean, I didn't think that they would throw him right into the fire like this, but I guess if he's only under contract for, we don't know how many fights, but I mean, he's going right for the title. Right for the title right away. So we'll see if there's going to be any rust on GSP. He looks like he's in fantastic fighting shape. So this is going to be an interesting bout between him and Bisping.
Yeah, sounds like it's going to be in Vegas. Dana White was asked if it was going to be in Canada, but it said there's no plans, concrete plans. There are plans, no concrete plans on when they're coming back to Canada for another fight there. But sounds like it's going to be in Vegas, which, I mean, a lot of the big ones are. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on that. I'm not sure if it's exactly scheduled as far as date goes yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure which UFC it's going to be at, but it's coming up in the next couple, I believe. It's going to be on a card, and they're going to start, now that it's confirmed, they're going to start really trying to sell it. So
perfect.
Look for that.
Another young guy, Ricky Fowler, wins the Honda Classic. That's a golfer.
You gotta love the young guys winning tourneys, and Ricky Fowler has been a guy who's been around for the last couple of years. He's in and out. He's really bad, then he's really good.
Exactly,
you know?
He was really up and mentioned in that top group with Rory McIlroy and Jordan Spieth and Dustin Johnson and those, and then he falls off. It's a curious case. The guy's got style though.
Well, I was just about to say. I mean, you can't fault him for style. I mean, the pants, the hat game, everything, the matching uniforms. Like it's crazy.
He looks like a beauty. He's finally getting a couple wins. Hopefully he can string a few more together. Like I said, I'm always a fan of the young guys doing well. And there's always new guys nipping on their heels.
Exactly.
The Briars coming up shortly here. I believe it starts this week, or at least prelims start. So we'll keep an eye on that as well.
Yep.
Big curling fans over here.
Yep, we talk a lot of curling, and we'll get her on the show as the results come in.
Well, that wraps up our TradeCentre for today. Bax, you all good?
I think I'm all good. Sports Chatter has been talking a lot of trades this past couple weeks, but we're now into playoff stretch drive. So next week we're going to talk NBA and NHL. Teams trying to get into the playoffs. The races are heating up, so we'll talk that. We'll talk March Madness. That's coming up. It is March 1st. So March Madness is coming up. We're going to talk
absolutely.
about that.
We'll fill out some brackets
We'll fill out some brackets in the coming weeks, and we'll see how our teams do.
Yeah, do a couple breakdowns of some of the top teams as well, and see who we think's gonna come out on top this year.
Exactly. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Sports Chatter on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter, B_backs_ for myself.
And PGR10 or at PGR10, 10 the word, not the number.
And thanks for listening to a painful edition of TradeCentre with Sports Chatter.
I thought he was okay. You know, just okay.
It's not good, eh?
Terrible.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.